Hey, how you doing? I am so happy and excited today. I have my good friend Michelle Culberson from season one of Play to Win with us today. And I'm going to kind of give her an intro because she's a complete badass having won season one. She came on to season two as a coach and some other roles that I never really quite figured out on the show. As we were just talking, I was like, really? Okay, that's interesting. Michelle is a single mom of two. She's into network marketing, obviously, from season one, as you guys will see if you go back and watch it and prep for season two. Has really a lot to offer. And I'm excited to be interviewing you today and gathering a lot of wisdom from you, even as we were talking before we came on. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good, John. Thank you so much for having me. It's so great to see you again, and I'm excited to be here to chat with you again, and to pick up some wisdom from you, man. It was fun being on set with you. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think you're the only one who said that. Nobody else has said it was fun. I've been told I was intimidating. Marilyn said I'm a big teddy bear. Eugene said, he didn't say I was what did he say? He said something different. I haven't heard fun yet. So, you know,
Intense and fun, and I don't know. For me, that level of intensity. If you got somebody who's playing that intense, it's like, how can you not like up your own game in the midst of it? So yeah, that's
yeah,
fun, man.
yeah, it was. It's so funny because we were just talking and legitimately you just surprised me because throughout the show I mean I didn't have any issues with you. I thought that you were great. I thought that you were helpful, and I leaned on you in several situations like, hey, what do you think? Having been through the first season, even though they were completely different, um, but you've got some stuff in the background there that I never really put two and two together on. So kudos for being sneaky.
I don't know how much of it I can say, live and whatnot, because we are pre-released September 10th. Stay tuned. You guys will get a lot more information then. Um, but yeah, it was really exciting. I was there primarily just to kind of do whatever needed to be done. One of the main things that I was doing was coaching. You probably won't see me on the show a lot, on set a lot, because I was doing a lot of behind the scenes coaching, kind of one-on-one, helping people maybe put things into perspective,
Sure.
or deal with nerves, that kind of thing, because it's so foreign. Most of us don't walk around with cameras in our face all the time, right? And
Yeah.
that alone just puts the anxiety level up. So
Yeah.
there
So
was a lot.
I
Go
had
ahead.
an advantage there because I actually did a media course in 2014 about having cameras in your face. So, that training really kind of came in helpful for me. I tried to keep as much as I could to as short as I could so they couldn't manipulate what I said. And they still did. you know, the whole I'll punch everybody in the face is totally missing the part with Ray laughing, asking me, you know.
Yeah. Ah, the beauty of TV. That's how it goes, right? The edit, you never know how it's gonna puzzle
Yeah.
piece together.
Yeah. So in season one, you guys were given the option between coaching and job, and you picked the coaching, correct?
Yes, yes, I did.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about that decision of, six-figure income versus coaching. What made that decision for you?
Good question. So initially, I thought I might go for the job before I got there, but then I had to really look at what my vision was. Where did I want to go? And if I took the job, there was the potential of the job, extending beyond the year, but there was no guarantee of that. Whereas with the coaching, that's something that I get to keep forever. Those are lessons that I'm learning, and I can apply that directly to building my own network marketing business, my own coaching programs, and my own brand. And to be honest, myself, a lot of the coaching I got, so many people think of Ray as just a network marketing coach. He's a life coach, man. Like, he helped me break through so many personal barriers and so much crap that was keeping me stuck and small, and helping me play bigger in more than just those big areas of my life, like the Play to Win show, but play bigger in every aspect of my life every day. So that coaching, the decision to take that really had to do with my bigger vision and where I could take it and where it could take me.
Yeah, I mean, there was points on the show where I felt like these two are freaking counselors, not business coaches. And, like everybody else felt that way at some point or another as well. So in season 1, was Jessica the pit bull that everybody feared she was in season 2? Like, was everybody petrified of her?
Fierce, man. Oh, she is a fierce, fierce woman. And, but like, I think it's because like she doesn't sugarcoat anything. She just goes straight for it, right? There's no, I'm going to ask you this way and I'm going to ask you this way. She's just like bullet straight to the point, and like with the eyes that are looking right through you, and that there is no room to hide. There is no, but she's coming from a place of love too, and genuinely wanting to help. She's just like not going to accept any BS.
Yeah, so I think because I was so unaware of who they were as a couple, I wasn't scared at all. I mean, I don't remember if I quite said it this way, but at one point I was like, "Who the hell are you?" She had me crying in like 5 minutes, and I was like, "This does not happen in my life," And and she was pretty direct and straight to the point. To which, for me, I've been around that my whole life. Like direct and straight to the point works. Like I don't, I'm kind of dense, so I need that like ball bat approach. And so it never really struck me. But as I've been doing these interviews, how like legitimately everyone was like petrified of having to interview with her. And I was like, I didn't really think she was that bad. Like, so it's just kind of funny. So I wanted to see if that experience was the same on season 1. Was that the other contestants felt that way too?
Yeah, a majority of people did. Yeah, definitely a majority of people did. She has the ability to see the raw spot. And it's a gift, right? She sees where the damage is. She sees where the hurt is, and she goes for it. Most people, skirt around it and get you to see it. She just goes for it and shows it to you.
I've never really publicly talked about this much, but I was molested as a child, abused by a family friend, nobody in my family. And like within minutes, I don't know how that girl picked that up, but she's digging on that. And I'm like sitting there going, I didn't put that in my audition tape. I did not ever mention that before that point on the show. I was like, how do you get this? So it was kind of crazy. So, I mean, she really can see that stuff. I don't know how, but
she's a gifted woman, and she has some incredible abilities. It's just, I mean, intuition. She knows people. She can read people with her eyes closed. She doesn't need to see them to read them.
Right. Well, that became obvious to me like right away. So talking about season 1, talk to me about the difference, because it's such an advantage for you to have gone through season 1 and then sat outside on season 2. Very much like a cornerman from when I was fighting. The cornerman always gets to see a ton more than the person in the midst of the fight. So talk to me about what you thought about the difference in season 1 and season 2.
Wow. 2 totally different shows. I'll be honest with you. There are obviously some similarities, but really, really different. And I don't want to give any spoilers, but I kind of liken season 2's experience almost to like a week-long retreat. Sounds light and fluffy, so retreat is the wrong word, but boot camp almost, whereas you guys really got put through the ringer on multiple days. Some people had the ability to be together for multiple days in it every day but one. Whereas in season 1, we had one day, and then we either continued or not, and then we had the finals. So in some ways, I feel like season 1, it was like if you didn't perform right away, you were done. And so then maybe there was more opportunity for redemption on season 2, but then on season 2, the way the schedule was laid out, each exercise was so much more important. Like, I don't want to talk about when people got voted off the island or anything like that, but everything was just so impactful. Everything meant something big. Like, whereas, and then when I flip it around, like on season 1, we had the ability to redeem ourselves throughout the course of the day. Sometimes you didn't, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, the point system was bigger on season 2. How's that? The point system was bigger.
Yeah, because there's multiple days on season 2, so you don't have the chance to really perform really well one time and then you're safe. Like, you had to constantly go back out and put yourself back out on the line and really lay it all out there every single day that you were there. And then whoever it was that was getting voted off at the end of the day, or however they were doing it, you had to then show up again to save your rear end to stay. So there were some, I don't get flustered easy. So, but I remember watching and been like, that could be pretty rough. So it really was. So you got 2 day ones because you were in this coaching role. So talk to me for our season as you're sitting there watching day 1, true day 1 versus day 1 alpha, the second day. What did you see? I mean, how many of the contestants did you actually know? What was that like for you as just a kind of a non-involved kind of impartial person looking at day 1 and day 1 alpha?
So that's super interesting. So I'm just trying to think. I think I knew 2 cast members personally going into this, Ryan and Marilyn. And so I knew them before going in. I think they're the only 2 connections. I'd have to look back. There's something very real about reality show amnesia. Even in the position I was in, like, I have to think really hard, remembering who was in each day and what the differences were.
Sure.
Because, it was a long, intense week. You know that, right? And you end up, you don't necessarily commit everything to memory because you're so busy moving on to the next.
Yep.
But there was, what I found, there was a marked difference in energies between the group. So one group had more of a kind of almost like a party vibe, and the other group was more of a like vibe. So like, and those are my most technical words, but just more of a serious down, get it down.
Well, which one was which?
You're gonna have to watch and see.
Because I'm trying to think on my day 1. As you described that, I'm like, I don't know that either one of those really, it's just kind of interesting how everybody's perception of day 1, which of course you didn't have the 30, 45 minute bus ride from the hotel to the set. That was made for all kinds of interesting things. I remember a conversation, because I shared this, like, everybody laughs. They think I don't know, but I didn't even realize that coaching wasn't available till day 3. I was like, wait, the coaching's not available? And people are like, really? And I'm like, yeah, because I hadn't really given it too much thought about which one I wanted, because for me, first things first, and I do what's necessary to win. Then we can deal with coaching or job, right? And so that bus ride coming into day 1 was extremely interesting to me. And I've shared this a little bit too. I felt like everybody had already aligned and made teams And I didn't get an email about what time to show up on Monday morning. I didn't get none of that stuff. So those guys had all gone out and hung out together, and I show up cold, and I'm like, oh man, we're already making teams. Holy cow. And then I found out everybody kind of, not everybody, but a lot of people already knew each other. And I'm like, I am definitely short on this stick. I was like, man.
The game is afoot.
Yeah. My show ain't even started. I'm like, man, I'm behind the power curve. So from day one and day one alpha, as you looked in the room, who did you think in your mind stood the best chance of winning?
Before it all started, I had an idea. And that quickly went out the window as soon as we got in. Because people behave entirely different in a group setting, and B, in competition, and C, in high pressure situations than what they do on Facebook.
Yep.
And I had a couple. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I had 3, actually 4 people that I was like, ooh, these are super strong candidates. I'm not going to tell you if one of them ended up winning or not, but I can't say any more than that.
All right. So again, because you were on the outside, as you looked in at the show, what did you think was probably the funnest moment of the show? And you have to do it, obviously without giving away too much details unless it was shown on the trailer. But if you were as a contestant, what was it that you were like, man, I wish I would have done this?
Okay, so I feel okay saying it because it was full on the trailer. We're seeing water get shot at people, right?
Yeah.
There was that section where Ryan had water like just being poured. Man, that was fun. Oh man, just being a bystander. I got to do some like kind of B-roll. I was doing B-roll footage, like little video clips and taking pictures as well. And so I got to be sort of behind the scenes and listening to Ray and Jess especially, like, oh my, she was having so much fun.
She became a kid.
What's that?
She became a kid.
oh man, it was just the giggling and everybody, even though, and like the sports, I can't say all of the stuff that happened in it, but we saw that one clip with Ryan getting doused, and it was Ryan.
It was Ryan.
Yeah, it was Ryan. Yeah. And
so that's the one you would want to be a part of?
Oh, that would be fun. That would just be so fun because it's harmless, right? You've got shock factor because it's bloody cold water, right? And it's warm up. Well, actually, it was cool that day, but you've got cold water, shock factor because you're doing something that you have to keep your concentration, and everything's happening to try and get your concentration. And so it's testing focus, but there's also that element of fun where you can just lay into it, right? Like, because nobody's expecting you to be perfect, but you just go for it. And if you screw up, but you go for it. And that's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Now, what would you think would be the most stressful or the most, like the one that you were like, holy cow, I'm glad I'm not on this season?
So I'm not going to give it all away, but it's actually, there's a clip of you in the preview in the trailer where it shows you burning something and walking away visibly upset. The entire exercise, there was a portion of the exercise that I was like, okay, that is powerful and that's an incredible exercise. And that would have been, I've done that personally. And I'm like, that's a great thing to do for these guys. What incredible coaching and breaking them open. Then you had to do something else with it. And I thought, oh, bleep. Yeah. I don't know if I would be able to do that. Like, I am so, and I'm just getting goosebumps even right now, thinking like, oh, what you had to do there. And so, yeah, I just hats off to you guys. Kudos. I was actually talking to a Play to Win season 2 contestant the other day, and I said the same thing to her, like, the bravery that you guys had to show to do what you had to do, man, it chokes me up a little bit. I just, man, proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And whatever people see from that, I hope they take away and are able to see the strength that you guys had to step into to do that. And I'm
Oh,
just so
yeah.
proud of you.
Yeah. And, you know, I don't know how they're going to cut that portion of it, but everybody had to really dig deep, I think, to do that challenge. That was, I think for me, that was definitely the hardest thing I did on the show. I mean, it was rough. So I definitely think that's the case. Like, so we won't give too much away of, about this particular one, but you actually got to get your hands dirty and get back in the show. How was that?
Oh man, so fun. It was I was actually incredibly nervous. I got to, play a few different roles doing things, and I was nervous for a few different reasons. I mean, anytime you're in that environment with people playing at that level, you have the ability to up your game. So I was just like trying to be a sponge and learning from you guys as well, right? I was getting hardcore coached by Ray, and Jess, and Hank, and Mary Kate as well. The full time I was there, like I wasn't there not playing to win. I was getting, like, every day I'd get another message from Ray. I'd get coached from him every night. I'd get straightened out multiple times a day. And so it felt really good. It felt really nerve wracking, but it also felt like some really good validation of the work I've done up until this point, to be able to step in and do that work and respond to the request to step up
Yeah.
without freaking out and shrinking.
Yeah. That was kind of an interesting twist when that got requested. Everybody was kind of like, what? So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So as a contestant, I mean, we were doing, I don't know if it was quite 12 hours, but I mean, it was close to 12 hours. So you're saying after we wrapped up filming for the day, you were going back later and rehashing the day with Hank or Mary Kate or Ray and Jess? So you were putting in at least then 12 hours a day.
So we would get there earlier than you guys most days. There was the occasional day Mary Kate and I got there about the same time or a little later, but normally we'd get there earlier. There would be a bit of a day plan. I wasn't privy to all the information, not even close to all the information. A lot of it was big surprise for me, but I'd get information and some of my tasks for the day. I was working, and then afterwards there would be some, kind of debriefing a little bit after. Then I'd go back to the hotel, and I was at a different hotel. I can't remember. It wasn't too far from where you guys were, but it was a ways away, anyways. And then so the coaching was over Vox with Ray. And so we would have messages back and forth. I'd ask him a few questions, or he would message me saying, okay, I saw this today. I saw this today. And would have direct coaching for me. And so then I would have things to work on for me personally on, okay, what do I need to do to show up better? Who do I need to reach out for my team? And I'm still, building my business while I was there. So I'm still prospecting. Actually, it's interesting. I had one of my teammates leave my team while I was there because I didn't respond to her quick enough or watch one of her videos quick enough as I was putting in 14-hour days. And I'm just like, it was interesting. And I mean, I love her to bits, but I thought about that, and it really put into perspective for me what we do in this industry and how independent we have to be and how we have to create independence in others. And it really reminded me, my phone's ringing there, and it just really reminded me how important it is to do that and not to coddle people and to handhold people. Sure. And so this butt kicking I would get every night, not that it was a butt kicking, it was coaching, really helped prepare me for that. So I came out of this high to come home to, a low. I'd had people leave my team, like one of my big leaders, and I was like, oh. Yeah.
So that's a really good segue, actually. So, we come off the show, and within 2 weeks of the show, COVID happens. Obviously, you're going through some crazy stuff with your team. What do you think, if anything, because it was different for you having been, an outsider on the show looking in, But what do you think the greatest lesson you learned from being involved in the show was for you?
From season 2, you mean?
From season 2, not 1.
Okay. So so this was actually really, really powerful for me. When I walked in there, I actually felt incredibly insecure. I felt like an imposter. I felt like I didn't belong. And it was just such a good reminder for me that we always have work to do. And that if we're not guarding our minds, if we're not guarding our emotions, and I don't mean guarding like don't feel anything, don't, I'm just meaning pay attention to and be aware of it before it runs away with you, because emotions will do that, right? And so it was just a good reminder for that, and also a reminder that pretty much all of us at some point in time experience those insecurities, no matter what level we get to, and that insecurity, while it might feel like crap, is actually incredibly powerful to let us know that we have the room to grow more, and we can use it as a fuel and also as the ability to relate to people, or we can use it to rip shit down. Sorry, but that's, it's true, because if we let that insecurity and that emotion run, we can
Yeah.
destroy any opportunity we have and other people's opportunities around us. But if we use it to fuel us and to be humble in that, okay, this is growth opportunity, then it is so powerful.
Yeah. So again, this will probably be a little bit different for you being the position that you had. But did anything like drastically change in your life from being involved in season 2? Like with the other contestants, there was this massive spurt of growth from being put in that position and having to show up in a new way for many of us. What about for you? I mean, was there things coming out of it that you could look back to the show and go, man, I'm here because of this?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So I had a growth spiral, obviously, coming out of season 1. Of whether I'd won or not, I would have had a growth spiral. Having that coaching made me super spiral. I had some dips, of course, as it happens, the expansion, contraction, as it happens with growth. And then when I came out of season 2, it just really, that's where it solidified for me even more how I was only showing up as play to win Michelle in certain seasons, or like certain seasons in certain situations in my life, like in crisis situations. Like, I am somebody you want on your team in a crisis situation, like COVID. I was kicking butt on the ground for my organization, for like the nonprofit that I managed. I'm somebody you want on the ground in a crisis situation, because I play big, I play hard, I know how to get it done, and I'm just like one foot in front of the other. However, in everyday life, sometimes I'm a little meh, I don't know, whatever. And so this solidified for me that I don't have to be meh, whatever. Play to win Michelle is everyday play to win. And I would always be fearful to step fully into that people would be like, whoa, 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 you're too much. Because I've heard that all my life. Like, oh, back off, you're too much, take it down a notch, those types of things. And Ray said something really, really powerful to me. It was the day after the show. And he's like, I'm like, I had a question for him, and I'm like, I'm not quite sure what to do with this. And it was around one of my teammates leaving, because there was actually 2 of my leaders leave, not just one, but 2 of them all. And he's like, you know who you should talk to? You know who has really good advice and who would handle this like a champ? I'm like, who's that? He's like, get the what's her name? The girl from season 1, Play to Win. What's her name? Michelle. Get Michelle from season 1 of Play to Win on the phone and ask her what the hell she would do, and do that. Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy.
I'm like, noted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty powerful.
So the trailer comes out. What'd you think when you saw the trailer?
Woo. It's good. Oh man, John, it's so good. It shows that there's intensity. It shows that there's fun. It shows it just gives you a little bit of the idea of the journeys we're going to see people go on, like real people going on real life journeys and caring enough about their own happiness and their own growth to push through the other side. Whew,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the trailer as well. I was like, wow, this is good. So great. So how long have you been involved in Rank Makers? How did you, even find out about Pledge Season 1? Tell me a little bit about that and we'll wrap it up.
Okay, so I joined Rank Makers. There was some people that I knew in the industry that were just screaming about this Ray guy, and they were having success. So I got involved in Rank Makers within, I think they'd only been around about 3 or 4 months at that point.
Oh, wow.
So I've been there since pretty close to the beginning. And, I followed Ray on Twitter. I follow him on Twitter, and I saw this reality show thing come out on Twitter, and it actually came out on Twitter a fair bit before it got announced in Rank Makers. And as soon as I saw it, I just had this like surge through my body. And I said to my daughter, I'm going to be on a reality show. And she just got excited. She's like, Mom. And she knew how big of a Ray fan I was. And then I was like, who am I? Like, why would I even apply to do that? And I just about didn't apply. And then last minute, I'm like, oh, I better do this. So I threw my video in, and lo and behold, I got picked. But it was so strange. I've just had this sure knowing as soon as I saw it on Twitter before it was announced in Rank Makers that I was going to be on a reality show. It was just like one of those things, it's hard to explain.
Similar to me. I saw a clip of your Play to Win, and it's Trip is standing there and somebody else. I can't remember if it was you or not. And I saw it and I went, I'm going to be on the next one without a shadow of a doubt. I knew it. And that was in May, June, July timeframe of last year when I saw it.
Yep.
And I was like, I'll be on the next one. I mean, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. So you get it. You just, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I just knew. So interesting. The only difference is that I wasn't a rank maker. I had no clue. I didn't know. Like, I had joined that group, but I never really understood what was happening. And it was through starting to follow his Free Coaching Fridays after the show got released and you guys did all that stuff. Then I started watching Free Coaching Fridays, and it wasn't until December. I was like, let me join this thing again. I'll see if I can figure it out. So,
so good.
So funny. Well, I would just want to thank you for your time. It's so good to actually hear an outsider perspective on the show, having survived it, and then having to go back and do it again. That's pretty crazy.
I'd do it again in a heartbeat, man. To get around people playing at that level, even when it's uncomfortable, to get in the same room, man, in a heartbeat. I'd do it again.
Great. Well, let me just stick around for a couple of seconds. I'm going to end the broadcast, and then we can chat for a little bit.
Thank you so much, John. I appreciate you having me here. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always.
Yeah, we'll talk to you in a minute.